Some people ask me, why take a training to become a so-called future leader? What is it anyway? And in short, a future leader, in my definition, is someone who wants to lead the future, somebody who wants to co-create the future, and somebody who wants to be a leader in and of the new reality. But why should you train that? Many people have those abilities already, and why take a training? And I thought I'd answer that question on a video so that you can hear it again if you forget it, and so you can refer people to it. So the reason why I think it's very important to train to become a leader of the future is because most of us are not really used to the new mindset that is required to create the future. Because we are in this paradigm shift, so most of us are trained in the old mindset, in the old level of consciousness. And now, if we want to solve the problems that we are facing, we need to shift level of consciousness. As Einstein said, you cannot solve the problems you have with the same mindset that created them. You need to shift level of consciousness. And that is not such an easy thing to do, because you come there with your old mindset and you know you need to do something new, but how do you take the elevator to a different level of consciousness? Most of us need help from outside to be able to do that. Not with everything necessarily, but because a lot of inspiration can come from the inside, but we all have blind spots. We all have things we don't see clearly, where other people can say it's very clear what this person's blind spot is, but we can't see it because our universe is the water we swim in, so we don't notice, is it blue, or is it, we just swim in it. We just think it's reality as it is, but it's only our reality. So people from the outside, mentors or peers, can help us discover our blind spot, and I think that is hyper important these days, especially because we are in an era where group thinking is risking that we keep perpetuating the old mindset and the old problems and the old ways of doing things. Just because we all agree on that's the way it's most comfortable, it doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. The right thing to do now is the extraordinary thing, is the unusual thing. And the pioneers are feeling that, but they need support from peer groups to be able to carry through and create that new reality. So important that we get somebody to help us with our blind spots. Important also that we find a group of pioneers, co-pioneers, that can support us, because we are one against group thinking, or very few against massive group thinking. 85% of the population think in the old way, about 2% think in a very radically new way, and about 13% of us are front runners who sense the new, but maybe we haven't applied it fully. So we need to unite as front runners and innovators and help each other enforce that newness, so that we have the strength to withstand the protests and the ridicule and the isolation from the old group thinking mass mindset. So sorry, you can see how hard that is to withstand. So third reason to take leadership training, or to train the leadership of the future with other people, is because we don't have much time. We have 10 years to accomplish the 17 world goals. So if you want to do it on your own, if you want to change that mindset on your own, if you want to change your behaviors on your own, if you want to change your business on your own, it can take a very long time. And we don't have a long time right now. We have to act fast in order to create the change that is needed in the world. When we are in groups with other people who are like-minded and on the same level and on the same journey, everybody's process goes a lot faster, because we mirror ourselves in the others, and the issues that we hadn't really thought about will be raised by someone in the group, and so we all move along faster. Fourth reason to take a training as a future leader is that most of us have an inadequate or incomplete balance between the masculine and the feminine energies in ourselves. And this foundational imbalance creates a lot of imbalance on the outside. So that little subtle imbalance within us, I'm repeating that, is the root cause of all the imbalance we see in the outside world. So if you want to change the future, start with yourself and start getting a better balance between your inner masculine and your inner feminine. Now, what does that exactly mean? And why do we need to talk about the masculine and feminine? We need to talk about it because we're unaware about these two energies and what they mean and what they do for us and how they influence everything in our lives, from our inner climate to our relationships, to our workplaces, to society. Now, little reminder, the masculine energy in all of us, regardless of gender, is the outward going energy. And the feminine energy in all of us, regardless of gender, is the magnetic inward going energy or essence. And the reason why they're imbalanced is because we have systematically, for the past thousands of years, cultivated and actually only valued the outward going masculine energy and underestimated the value of the feminine energy, always valuing and accentuating and cultivating the yang energy, you could say that with a more neutral term. So this means that we have now a culture of doing. We're human doings and less human beings. Much less focus on the process to reach the goal. Much less focus on, do we create a sustainable world, or are we just creating destruction because we want to head so fast to our goals? Much less focus on how does it feel along the way? How does it feel on the inside and on the outside? Much less focus on the more subtle energies such as intuition, spirituality, love, the connection between people, our health, all our intelligences, from erotic intelligence to energetic intelligence and collective intelligence. All these subtleties have been suppressed for a very, very long time. And those subtleties, they are the key to restoring the balance in the world, because we have, with an overfocus on one energy and an underfocus on the other essence, the result is imbalance. And we see it in ourselves, our health, our stress levels, our relationships. We see it everywhere. So most people have this distorted imbalance. And I see it very clearly when I work with entrepreneurs. Either they are working so much and so hard that they're on the verge of burnout. I heard about someone today who died from stress. I mean, I think that's so old century, but you can still die of stress if you are not aware of your feminine energies. So, and you don't cultivate them, you don't take them seriously. So most people tend to work way too hard and actually this way maybe even achieve less than they could have if they had a better balance, but that's a different story. But way too hard, way too much, and at the detriment of everything around them, including their health and the planet. So they would need more focus on the feminine energy in order to create balance, and also in order to create that flow where you can achieve more with less. And on the other hand, I often work with people who are, you would say, genius at working with energy, at working with consciousness, at working with their intuition, at being one big heart and loving people, but they might need more frames, more systems, might need to use that masculine energy of focusing and giving their energy a direction and keeping the boundaries around their fluctuating energies in order to actually produce something and achieve something and be able to deliver innovation in the world. So these are the two extremes, but most of us can feel, well, we have a little bit too much of one or a little bit too much of the other, because most of us have a tendency to have more yin or a tendency to have more yang. And with consciousness, we can actually balance the two, new practices and so on. So this explains why I find that it makes a lot of sense to enter into a training ground, because this is not something you learn overnight. It sounds so simple, but it actually takes a while to really master it. Actually, it can take a whole lifetime, and we don't have a whole lifetime. So let's accelerate this process by really focusing on it and helping each other create new ways. And of course, there's many tools that you can apply in order to create more balance faster. And that's what I see in my course attendants, that they quite fast get a much better balance. It's subtle, but it makes an enormous difference. And what is the main difference I see is that they start creating results with their pure being. Isn't that interesting, that we can create results just by being who we are and being it so fully that just our presence and the energy that emanates from us can actually create results so much faster than if we were in the old imbalance or the old mindset. So that's another reason why people take my training, is to get better, to get that balance inside and outside themselves adjusted, so they work smarter, not harder, and thus achieve more with less. Then another reason people take the training, and somebody asked me the other day, what if I'm already very successful and very accomplished? Do I need more training? And I would say you never need more training, but if you are that accomplished and successful, I would say you have so much potential to really take it further and take a lot of other people along with you. So if you already master the muscles of creating something extraordinary in the world, then you are really somebody that is needed to lead the future and maybe shift your level. So you might have created success on this level, but now you want to create it on this level. So you used to impact, let's say you used to impact 250 people, now you want to impact 2,500 people. So that's a way of shifting level, maybe getting more aligned. Who do I actually want to work with? How do I want to work with it? And how can I take my genius so much further? So that's also a process where you might not be able to see yourself. What else is possible? What more could I be able to do? How can I make an even bigger difference? How can I leave an even bigger legacy? How can I serve on an even bigger scale? And those are the things that you can get help with at my Future Leader training. So I think it makes a lot of sense for people who are ambitious, who are driven, and who feel this little sense that something more wants to happen, something is calling them, something doesn't feel quite right on the current level, something is itching to happen. And you might notice it from something in your life not quite working. It could be in your work, or it could be in your relationships, or it could be in your health situation. And I would really say the time to adjust those imbalances has really come. Because if you really want to live in the world that remains, if you live in a good life right now, if you want to have it to remain a good life and not be suddenly restricted or completely havocked by natural catastrophes and whatnot, or if you want to contribute to creating a better life for yourself and others, or if you want to work for the fact that your children might otherwise get a downgraded life from your own life, then it's really time to step up and say, let me be one of those people who create the new reality, who co-create the new reality along with other ambitious peers, along with other people who can and want to make the positive difference and work for a brighter future, not only for themselves and their own surroundings, but also for their colleagues, their clients, and in the larger scale, for their society, for their environment, for the people they care about and the people they don't even know, but that they want to care about. So this was a little message. If anybody has any questions, I'm here. So you might as well ask them while I'm here to answer them. Otherwise, I am hosting from time to time free introductions to my future leader trainings, and that is an opportunity to get customized attention. So then that's an opportunity to hear a little bit more about the trainings, but also to get some feedback on would this work for you, and to get some feedback on what I see as your future leader potential. And also my colleagues I sometimes invite in to help me see and give you feedback on what could be possible for you. So it's very interesting to participate in those workshops. I also give talks in corporations. If you have some colleagues that you want to hear, you want to help introduce them to the new paradigm, and you want to help them introduce to the new concept of leadership, where everyone has to be a leader, not only the leaders who have a formal title. It could be that you also, or maybe you just have a boss, CEO, HR department, leader that you want to introduce to these new thoughts, and you're welcome to send them my way, and I will give them a free consultation or invite them to one of my events. So all for now, and I wish you a wonderful weekend, and a wonderful, if you see this on another day, a wonderful day, and I hope to meet you at some point, and I hope that I have reminded you of what it takes to co-create a bright future at home, at work, and in the world. Thank you for your attention.